Hi there. I have just completed an article on retrograde planets because so many of my clients come to me with issues around a period where planets are retrograde. Sometimes it's an exciting time, other times it's a bit of a challenging time. So without further ado, let me read you this article I wrote. Right. During a retrograde cycle, planets seem to be more emphatic or noticeable, acting out the nature of the sign the planet is transiting through. Wherever these planets retrograde in our charts, they bring about periods of inevitable events that are out of our control. These events are seemingly fated, thrusting upon us past issues that we are forced to deal with, rather than matters we are in control of, where we are in the position to consciously implement change and face the matters head on. As a rule, when a planet is retrograde, it tends to bring up issues from the past that are not resolved, unresolved issues. And then it insists that they are now dealt with. And an aspect or connection with a planet that is retrograde will certainly demand attention from the particular area in our chart that is if the planet is retrograding. So, in other words, and if the retrograde planet connects with any planet in your chart, it will definitely bring up an issue, or that area of your life will definitely need attention. You will have to look at this and sort it out. So now what happens is the retrograde cycle starts as the planet slows, the transiting planet that is, and then goes into its station. It's like a car. If you want to reverse, you've got to go slow down, stop, change gear, and reverse. That's a very vulnerable time, especially if you're trying to get out of the way of a charging elephant. So, the planet will slow before it changes direction. Should it station on one of your planets, this will become the main focal point you will have to resolve during this retrograde cycle. Now, the station period is where the planet does not move for a long period of time. This makes it extremely vulnerable. I've had a retrograde planet station on one of my planets. It was not pleasant, but at the end of the day, it was all sorted. Okay, so now the next stage of the cycle, after the stationary cycle, the planet will move backwards, covering all the points it went over in a forward direction that were initially triggered as a thought or situation before the planet station. We'll get this feeling, or a little thing happens, or the car goes clunk, 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 but we ignore it. Then the planet stations it as it goes backwards over those points in our chart, so it will highlight these issues or bring them out in the open, make the car brake. These issues will come to a head as the retrograde planet moves back over them. The planet will slow again and then station on another point in its cycle before it moves in its natural forward motion. At this point, it goes over all the periods that it affected during its retrograde cycle. And as it goes over, it will repair or resolve all matters, allowing us to finally let go of that stressful period and move on. Now, just let's have a look. The slower planets will give us a longer period of time to resolve matters highlighted by the sign and house, as well as any planets affected by the retrograde cycle. These issues come with a past history and seem to linger for a longer period than the shorter cycle of a fast-moving planet. So, for example, the carburetor or something going wrong with your car, that's a quick thing. But often a longer lingering thing could be an ongoing tax situation or a job that's making you miserably unhappy, and finally during the retrograde things come to a head. You look at things, and as the planet moves in the right direction, you move on, you move out of all the issues, and life starts happening for you. Now, the longer the retrograde cycle, the more time we have to repair, revise, or restructure the matter or area of life highlighted by the transiting retrograde planet in our birth charts. So, that's the way. The shorter ones, as I said, are more acute. The longer ones are more chronic. So let's see what I've said here. Pluto, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter are the slow-moving planets, and the matters they force us to deal with are longer-lasting and more chronic in nature, as they tend to focus on one or at the most two prevalent areas in our lives. Uranus retrogrades for approximately 4.5 months in a year. Neptune retrograde period is about 5 months, and Pluto will retrograde for about 5.5 months in a year. Saturn will retrograde to up to 5 months in a year, and Jupiter for around 4.5 months. So you can see those are long periods, and you think, how can I last so long with such a long period? But I just see these longer periods as a time to all the frantic energy going into restructure or growth or whatever it is. Here's the time now to fix it. Take time out, mend the little cracks. You can see what is wrong. This little thing will fall by, that little thing will fall by. Or it could give you a long period of time to deal with a big issue. And often dealing with a big issue takes a long time. So this is why they are necessary in life. Now, the faster moving planets such as Mercury, Venus, and Mars will connect with more of our personal planets in our charts, bringing about quick and acute change affecting more than one area of our lives. It's like a quick thing. It's not long and happy. It's not brewing. It happens suddenly. Sometimes it can be quite shocking. Other times it can be a rather pleasant surprise. It all depends. And if you consult with your astrologer, you can actually say, I would like to have a consultation regarding the retrograde planets to see when and where and how they will affect me for the year. So pre-warned is pre-armed. Us astrologers, I laugh, clients will come and see us with all these terrible things going on because of the retrograde. The only difference between the clients and the astrologers is we know it's happening and we know why. And we deal with it perhaps a bit better, sometimes not well at all. But just to give you an idea of the retrograde cycles, for example, of the faster planets, Mercury retrogrades 3 to 4 times a year. Mercury is the communicator, the mover, the groover planet. And there's often times where we've got to stop going so fast, pull back, and take time to repair certain things so we can move forward again. Venus retrogrades every 18 months and Mars every 2 years. So this is Venus. You get the nature of the planet, the sign of the planet, the action of the planet. For example, Venus is all about money and desires. And when Venus retrogrades, things regarding money issues, desire, relationships, that sort of thing can come to a head. Mars is about our action, our anger, our pioneering spirit. When Mars retrogrades, we can think about, where do I need to pioneer? It's retrograding in this area of my life, in the life of my creativity. Perhaps I should think about doing something wonderful and creative, going and study art or something like that, or start writing a book, research the book. So you can see how it depends on the planet, the nature of the planet, the sign it is in, how it will affect you. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed writing it. It was necessary. And I just wish you all the best of reform during the retrogrades. Thank you for listening to my videos. And I hope it's a weekend time here, so I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Or whatever time you're reading this, enjoy your week.